Welcome to the Mental Fitness Edge Summit. My name is Dr. Christopher Oseh, the summit host. In today's session, I'll be discussing how to harness your brain's power to keep you calm and confident in high pressure situations using the Mind C.P.R method with Dr. Rozina is the medical director of Shifa Health, founder of Happy and Healthy Mind, an integrative psychiatrist and an executive coach. She's a board certified psychiatrist and a speaker with over 25 years of experience helping leaders, professionals, and high achievers break free from stress without giving up the careers they worked so hard to build. Drawing from her journey of recovering from physician burnout, she blends the science of psychiatry with integrative, evidence based strategies to prevent and manage stress, anxiety, and depression naturally. She's the founder of the popular mental fitness platform and podcast, Happy and Healthy Mind with Dr. Rozina, where she shares practical tools for lasting emotional resilience. She's the author of the best selling book, From Stress to Joy, and her upcoming release, The Ultimate Toolkit to Rewire Your Anxious Brain, which offers a groundbreaking collection of science backed techniques designed to help readers calm their minds, boost their emotional flexibility, and take control of their anxious thoughts. She's an affiliate of the American Institute of Stress, and she has been featured in multiple media outlets and invited to speak at national and international conferences, where she continues to empower audiences with real world tools for building a healthier and more joyful life. Thank you so much, Dr. Rozina, for making our time for this session. We are so honored to have you.
It's a blessing to be able to. Thank you.
Now, for those that are new to you, can you walk us through your backstory briefly?
You gave a really good background. I think the piece that may be missing from that background is my journey from the traditional conventional doctor to being an integrative psychiatrist and burnout coach and speaker was a very pivotal moment in my life. When, as a doctor, you take stress as part of the normal life. You're going to medical school, you're doing 10 different things.
Yeah.
I got into new practice and we had moved and I had a little baby, and I did not realize how chronic stress over the years had affected me until I got into a car accident because I zoned out because of the severe stress. And that resulted in a broken arm. The recovery from that was the biggest time of my internal growth when I learned to appreciate the things I was taking for granted. I was realizing the importance of stress management techniques, working on strategies to help overcome, but also prevent. And so then when I started getting better, I had this calling that I had exposure to all these tools, but a lot of people like me don't. And so I had this calling to bring these tools from inside the office to outside the office so people like me don't have to suffer unnecessarily. That started my journey on writing these books and doing the speaking and starting the podcast. I describe a lot of my story in my Stress to Joy book that you talked about, and
Yeah.
then I'm building up on it further for people with anxious brains do struggle with anxiety, not just the anxiety disorder, but day to day anxiety. And it seems like it has become part of our thinking pattern. Our brains have been wired for anxiety, and we don't sometimes realize it. And then we keep on building on it, and it affects our functioning and our potential to reach our capacity, working at our best. So I'm going to be addressing that in this book.
Thank you so much. At times, our tragedy can become a message to actually help and empower others.
Yeah.
Fortunate to be reading your upcoming book, The Ultimate Toolkit to Rewire Your Anxious Brain. I love the storytelling in the book, but you shared a couple of scientifically proven tools to help the readers with anxiety. The one that got my attention is the Mind CPR method. Can you walk us through what does the Mind CPR method stand for and why is it so effective for high pressure situations?
See, there are many different tools that I use, and actually, not every tool works for everybody,
Yeah.
right? So we are unique individuals, and sometimes you need different strategies to help. And so over the years, I've been a psychiatrist for 26 years. And over the years, I have seen many people go through different phases. And if I sit down and I think, okay, what most people go through and what helps them, that's how I ended up coming up with formula I call Mind CPR. And you've heard the physical CPR, the cardiopulmonary
Mhm.
resuscitation.
Yeah.
When you see somebody is in crisis, they're not breathing, and then you do the compression to revive them,
Yeah.
basically. So when your mind is going through the crisis, what are some of the steps you can do to revive your mind? In this Mind CPR formula that I use, C stands for calming down the body.
Okay.
P stands for processing your thoughts, and R stands for responding with intention. I mentioned stress and then I started talking about anxiety. Let me just make a little connection for our audience. What is the difference between stress and anxiety?
Okay. That's fine.
So, when there is an external demand or a pressure that you have to respond to, that demand is called stressor.
Okay.
And then your body reacts, your mind reacts, and it responds to that stressor. Okay?
Mhm.
And so that is called stress reaction.
Okay.
Many times, the same stress reaction can also start happening when there is no stressor, or if
Mm.
the stressor is there, there's like a mild stressor, your body is reacting too much. So it is responding disproportionately,
Okay.
and that we call anxiety. So neuropsychology and neurobiology behind these two phenomena, anxious reaction and stress, are similar. It involves similar brain parts, and we can go into that in a second. And so that's why they are used interchangeably many times. When your body is into this stress reaction, when your body gets really tight, you're not able to think straight. Let's imagine your car as a high performing car.
Okay.
And so when you're anxious, it throws your car into overdrive and it floods your system with adrenaline. And then your brain just focuses on threats because you're afraid that something bad is going to happen. Your higher brain, or what we call your brain CEO, your prefrontal cortex, the
Okay.
rational part of your brain that is responsible for executive decision, gets hijacked by amygdala, which is your emotional center of the brain. And when your amygdala is in action, you're just reacting because of the fear. Oh, somebody is looking at this way, that means they're upset with me or they're
Mm.
laughing at me. You start overreading and you become more anxious. So then your thinking brain really goes on, let's say, coffee break and is not thinking. And so leaders, especially when they
Mm.
are under pressure, what do they need? They need clarity of
Yes.
thinking. They need flexible thinking. They need to have their problem solving part of their brain working well, and they need to regulate their emotions. And so, all those areas of the brain get affected when you are in this anxious reaction or stress reaction. And your brain kind of switches from a thoughtful response to a reactive survival. You just in the reactive mode. If you're driving your car and there's ice or icy condition, you have to really think through and just put the brakes slowly and get the car stabilized. If you're really anxious and you push the brake, then the car is going to skid, right? And so that's the difference in terms of like when you are able to calm down the brain and you're think through, then you can respond properly. And that's why a lot of people in high stress conditions or leaders, they need some kind of tools to help them calm down,
Okay.
process what is going in their brain, so then they can respond intentionally. So that's where the Mind CPR comes in. We can go into a little bit more detail right now, or you have some other questions and we can go into detail later.
I would like to reflect some things I've gotten as well from what you just explained. I like how you differentiated anxiety from stress. You said anxiety is when the chronic stress response is in disproportionate amount to the stressor. And you also mentioned that the mind CPR is a way to revive our mind, just like how the physical CPR revives the physical body.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through specifically how leaders that are watching that are under high pressure situations, how can apply the Mind CPR method in a stepwise manner?
All right, let's do that. Let's say a surgeon who is going to go for surgery, professional or a business person who's going to go for a presentation. Okay, so
Okay.
let's use that example.
All right.
And you're thinking that, okay, this is really very important. What if I mess up? How am I going to perform? The first step is to calm down. Once you realize that this is important and your body is going into a stress reaction, you need to calm this down. So, how can
Okay.
we do that? And what happens when you calm down? You stimulate your parasympathetic system. Like in your brain, there are different systems, right? So, there's an activating system, the body reacts through a sympathetic nervous system. And
Okay.
let me just distract for a second to explain these differences of parasympathetic and sympathetic. Let's say
That will
you're
help.
driving the car and suddenly you see somebody walking on the road.
Mm.
So your brain needs to process somebody's walking, I need to react. Your body gets tight, there's adrenaline release in the body, goes the message to the brain, do something fast. And so
Mm.
the brain processes it and sends a message to your legs to push the brake. And then you stop the car. You prevented a car accident. And
Mhm.
so that's a beautiful system. The brain is wired to protect.
Okay.
And then the body needs to come back to the normal baseline. Your heart rate, like when you were reacting, your heart rate was fast, you were breathing fast, your body was tight, and now
Okay.
the accident is over, and now you need to calm down. So your heart rate needs to calm down, your breathing needs to calm down, your body needs to relax. So then the blood flow can start going to the other parts of the body, like your GI system for digestion and rest.
Mhm.
What happens is that is in the normal stress reaction, sympathetic system kicks in, makes you do all these things. And then when you get the safe signal, okay, the accident is over, then your parasympathetic system kicks in and gives the message to the brain, and through your vagus nerve gives the message to your heart to calm down, your breathing to calm down, the muscles to relax. So that's how there is this balance between sympathetic system and parasympathetic nervous system that helps you manage day-to-day stress. And when you get either stuck in the stress reaction, when your body is like tight all the time because you're
Okay.
constantly dealing with stress after stress, or you get into this anxiety reaction mode when even when there's no stressor outside, your body is in that reaction. You're trying to sleep, but it keeps on thinking about all the possible scenarios and all the negative things that could happen and keeps you awake. So your body is in that stress reaction. So what you want to do is you want to calm down. And so by tapping into your parasympathetic system. And in
Okay.
the book, I describe many different tools for each
Mhm.
of these steps because, as I said, not one pill fixes everything and
Mhm.
everybody is different. So they may need different tools. But you need to pick some tool that would help you ground yourself, or breathing techniques or vagus nerve technique to settle your body. And then the step two would be to process using your cognitive tools or thinking tools. Some of the examples I use in the book are like ABCDE method or the stop technique to untangle those anxious thoughts that are going in
Mm.
the mind. And then the step three would be to respond, choosing a wise action rooted in your values and not in your fear. It
Mm.
gives your cortex, the rational part of your brain, a chance to lead again. And so, under pressure, this method provides kind of a portable toolkit for emotional first aid anytime, anywhere. Using the example, you're about to walk in a boardroom to
Mhm.
pitch a major project, or for a person like a speaker like me, I'm about to go on the stage to give a talk. And then sometimes you feel like your hands are clammy and your chest is getting tight and your brain is spinning. What if I mess up? As soon as you realize, you acknowledge that it's okay, that is happening, you want to calm down. So maybe you can step into a quiet and do your box breathing. And let me just walk the audience through some of these exercises to
Okay.
help. Box breathing is when you inhale for maybe count of four, hold for the count of four, breathe out for the count of four, and then pause for the count of four. So that's why it's called box, because it makes the box. Okay.
Okay.
So I will walk you through, and why don't you breathe with me? And I invite our audiences to do the same thing.
All right.
So I'm going to count and you breathe, okay? Breathe
Okay.
in. One, two, three, four. Hold. Two, three, four. Breathe out. Pause. Okay. Now, next time I'm going to, instead of counting the numbers, I'm going to say all is, okay? So let's do
Mm.
that breathing, okay?
Okay.
Breathe in is, well, you let your body drop or relax like a cat taking a nap. Breathe in again. All is, and you do two or three of these, and your body starts calming down. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's quite relaxing, really. I use deep breathing techniques because I know what is some of these tools.
Yeah,
I use it a lot when I'm trying to relax myself, maybe when I'm speaking as well.
wonderful. And
Yeah.
then you can add on to another technique that I describe in the book, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. It's again grounding technique. So I'll walk you through again.
Mhm.
So can you look at 5 things that you can see right now?
Okay.
You name the 5 things you're seeing right now.
So I can see my laptop. I can see my lighting device. So I can see my pen. I can see my journal,
Uh-huh.
and my water bottle is here.
All right. So now touch 4 things that you can touch and tell me what you're touching.
So my sticky notes,
All
my
right.
pen, I can touch the string.
Uh-huh.
Then my reading glasses is here.
All right. Great. And
Yeah.
so now hear 3 things that you could hear. Tell me what you,
Your voice.
right?
Because of this headphone, I may not be able to hear so much. So
Sure. So silence is
okay.
also observation of noise,
Mm,
voice. So
mm.
sound could be also absence of sound. So you're
Wow.
feeling
Okay.
like that quiet in
Hmm.
my voice, and maybe you can hear your breathing or humming sound.
Yes,
Right.
I can.
And so now smell 2 things. What do you smell? And
Well,
again, absence of
the
smell also counts.
yeah, the mic, I guess the chemical around this has some
Right.
smell. I
Okay.
focusing on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you smell anything else?
Not really. Because it's very close to my nose. Maybe that's why I can't perceive it.
So absence of other smells. And
Mm.
then taste. How's the taste in the mouth? One thing that you'd feel the taste.
I guess the taste of what I just ate before we started the interview.
Yeah. All right. So you see, like you did 5 things you saw, four
Hmm.
things you touched, 3 things you heard, 2 things you smelled, and 1 thing you taste. And
Mm.
so, did you realize that when you were doing those things, you stopped worrying about this interview?
Yeah.
So, for a few minutes, a few seconds, your
Mm.
brain gets that break. So, this is a wonderful technique we call 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding techniques. You did the box breathing, or you can do any other breathing, and then you can do this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you calm down your body and brain. Then the
Okay.
step 2 is process. So, you
Mm.
catch your thought, okay? What if I mess up? Then you can counter it with some of the techniques that I describe in book. One of the technique is ABCD method. When A is you recognize and actually you start questioning it. So A is the event that
Okay.
happens. B is your belief. What if I mess up? C is the consequence. Then you worried about messing up. So D is the dispute. So you dispute,
Mm.
question that thought. Is that really true? Actually, I've prepared well. And even if I pause or rephrase, that doesn't affect my credibility. It shows composure. So you change or you challenge the thought. What if I mess up? What if I stumble? It would lose my credibility. That's your belief or automatic thought. And you catch it and you try to see if you can replace it or modify it with another true statement, which is true.
Mm.
No, yes, I have prepared. Even if I pause or rephrase, that doesn't erase my credibility. It just shows the composure. So when
Mm.
I'm thinking that, then my mind would be more positive and less anxious. Then the step 3 comes in to respond. So you decide to walk in tall, lead with curiosity, and focus on delivering the value rather than perfection. You
Mm.
usually are worried that you're going to mess up because you want to be perfect. And
Yes.
that's what causes a mind to become more anxious. So instead of thinking about being perfect, you say, I'm going to focus on giving the value and I'm going
Mm.
to be curious how this is going to work out and be open to whatever happens. So now you shift from reactive anxiety to being confident and being present in the moment. And then what you say or what you do, it would be yourself. You'd be able to
Yeah,
give the value and what your inner thoughts are rather than worried about giving the right thought. Make sense?
absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the mindset.
Interesting. Now, that's, I want to recap some of the things I got from what you just explained about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So, the body's chronic stress response causes a hijack whereby the sympathetic overrides the parasympathetic. Now,
Correct.
using your mind CPR method, what that helps us to do is to help us tap into the parasympathetic so that as leaders, the executive function and the part of the brain responsible for clarity decision making is not hijacked by our amygdala. That's the center in the brain responsible for our emotion. Now,
Right.
with the tools under the calming step rather, talks about breathing tools, the grounding techniques, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. With these tools, it helps us to go back to the parasympathetic state where we can tap into our logical brain. Then
Correct.
we move to the next phase, which is process it using the ABCDE method. You question those thoughts and you replace those thoughts with a specific truth. For example, like you said, you've actually done the work. So there's no point to be anxious. Then the
Mhm.
next step is actually to respond based on your values. This is quite interesting because it shows a lot of inner work. So the speakers we see that appear so confident, so calm, we don't know the inner work they are doing. And some of them may be using the Mind C.P.R method.
You're right. Many of them
So
are using it without realizing it. They've just
exactly.
done it so many times
Mm,
that it happens automatically. But then
yes.
just knowing that in the times when you're like so tense that you're not able to think through, this can remind you, okay, this is how I can do it.
Nice. And for our viewers, so you might be thinking it's a lot of work, but once you practice this Mind CPR method over time, it becomes a habit and it becomes
Correct.
automatic for you to do.
Yes.
Now, I have to ask, apart from the Mind CPR method, from your wealth of experience and knowledge, what is one mental fitness practice you recommend to our viewers to help them reduce anxiety and build resilience?
There are many, but some are like really powerful tool. I have several to recommend, but maybe let's do a 3-minute morning ritual. I think that would start the day in a positive manner. Our leaders or professionals or healthcare professionals, they're very busy people. So anytime we tell them, oh, do the meditation in the morning, and they say, who has the time to meditate? The very powerful tool that I practice and preach is the gratitude journal. So my day starts with a gratitude journal.
Wow.
Since my accident that I was describing, every day I write my gratitude journal to start my day. But some people say, oh, I don't have time to write either. So then
Mm,
I say, okay, let's do just 3-minute morning ritual. For one
okay.
minute, just do the deep breathing practice.
Mm,
So you're waking up, you're
okay.
stretching, you just take a minute to just do your deep breathing, whether it's abdominal breathing or box breathing or one of the pranayama breathing. And
Mm,
then maybe journal one empowering affirmation or intention for the day. I
mm,
choose. And then set a micro goal that is aligned with the values. I intend to relax today. I intend to make a positive connection with my spouse today. Or I intend to help 10 patients feel better or make a difference
wow.
in 10 people's life.
Mm,
So set one micro goal,
okay.
journal one empowering gratitude, affirmation, or intention of the day,
Okay.
and do deep breathing. So just 3 minutes, and it would start your day in more grounded way instead of just getting up, picking up the phone. Oh, what am I supposed to do? And then just go from one thing to the other. Then your day starts frantic, and it takes a long time to calm down. But again, as soon as you realize that you started frantic, utilize these 3-minute breaks or even 1 minute break to bring your stress reaction into a calming state so that the next stressors that come, it takes you up, but it doesn't take you to the peak of feeling full anxious. So you just keep on breaking this cycle by taking
Mm.
this 1 minute break throughout the day.
Well, I love that. I like how you made it bite size, right? You can have just 1 minute. You can set the timer. Just reconnect with your parasympathetic nervous system by just deep breathing or do a grounding exercise. And the morning ritual is very important because how you start your day will be how your day will eventually go. These are great exercises. Now, as we
Yeah.
wrap up for the bonus session, from your wealth of experience, what have you seen that is one counterintuitive method that your clients have used to help them stay calm, reduce anxiety?
Sometimes I describe anxiety is like a monster for, how when the younger and they are afraid of monster, they try to run away from the monster. Okay?
Yeah,
And the more you run away, the bigger the monster gets. And let's say
interesting.
the kid grows older and decides to face the monster. And so what happens, he faces the monster, and the monster first becomes even bigger because it tries to scare, and the kid stands its ground. What
Mhm.
happens to the monster then? Melts away.
Yes.
Anxiety is like that. Until you keep on considering it as a monster, an enemy to run away, the more you run away, the more control it would have on you.
Mm,
And the moment you shift your thinking, anxiety is not enemy, it's just a signal. My
mm,
body is trying to protect me. It's not a verdict. And if shift the thinking from fighting it to or trying to suppress it, you shift into curiosity. Say, what is this feeling trying to protect me from?
wow.
What value is it tied to? Because you really want to do well for the person, and so you feel really anxious. Like yesterday, my daughter was late, and I was really anxious. What's happening? Why is she not responding? She said an hour back that she's coming, and now she's not responding. So your mind starts getting really in this fear based thinking, and you're really worried. And you're worried because you love the person. I've been the culprit too in past when she's come home. It's like, where were you? And I was like so upset. And so like you're screaming and shouting, and the kid is not getting the message that you are worried because you love them. Like you're angry at them,
Hmm,
which I was. But because I've been waiting and I've been waiting. But because I was like, okay, I don't want to give her the message that I don't love her. I want her to understand that I'm worried because I love her. So when you are able to think through what your value is, what value your reaction is tied into, was the love. So
hmm,
then you would respond accordingly. I was worried because I love and I care for her. And so
yes.
then my reaction got modified. I was able to think through that curiosity that changes everything because anxiety becomes a guide instead of your jailer, or instead of that monster, it becomes your partner. It giving you the message. Like that example I use about the car driving and somebody stepping on the road. The anxiety became your ally, your friend who saved you and the person that stepped on the road. And so anxiety is a message from the body. Sometimes it starts overreacting because of whatever reason. Your amygdala is like really scared. More you practice and calm down and train and listen to your anxiety, what it is trying to say, and then training your brain to know this. I understand why you are afraid, but this is not that big of a problem. It is going to solve, or I can handle it. So all these processing tools would allow you to retrain your amygdala, which is like a fire alarm, to stop going off whenever your toaster toasts the bread. It would only react when there is actual fire. Makes sense?
It does. I like how you use the common day examples to explain these things and shifting our mindsets from seeing anxiety as a monster to using curiosity to explore what that feeling is trying to tell you and seeing which value is that feeling trying to align with. Now, finally, Dr. Rozina, thank you so much for your wealth of insights during the session. What's one final word you have for our audience?
You are not your anxiety. You are a person, a whole person with strengths and weaknesses. Strengthen your strength, weaken your weakness, so you can be the best version of yourself.
Wow, that's very empowering. You are not your anxiety. Now, for those that would like to connect to you, so where can they connect with you to? And also to get your book. And I know when this interview will go live, the book, The Ultimate Toolkit to Rewire Your Anxious Mind, will be live already. So where can they connect with you and also get the book where the tools and the toolkits are well highlighted?
Yeah, so our website,
Okay.
happyandhealthymind.com, is our podcast site.
Okay.
And so you can access all the podcasts and the related books. And my other books are also listed on drrozina.com. So drrozina.com. And all the other teaching material is on happyandhealthymind.com.
All right. So I'll put those links in the show notes. So once again, Dr. Rozina, we thank you so much for sharing your wealth of insights for this session. And for our viewers, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next session. Bye for now.